could have had another clear shot of his head. Like, look at that. Look at that. What is that? Like, what happened? Did the Secret Service initiate some—
Sorry, you can't be in the Secret Service, Sweaty. You're not tall enough. So Shoe0nHead is a person that exists. I've gone over her a couple of times before. The last time I went over her, I decided not to upload it because it had some drama sprinkled in it, and I didn't want to like get the drama frogs in here because they're a very toxic community, and I don't want none of that. I probably will still get more of you guys. If that's you, hello, I hate you, get out. But anyway, if that's not you, welcome to America is in Shambles by Shoe0nHead. If you don't know who Shoe0nHead is, she basically postures herself as a centrist. She used to be buddies with some of the left-leaning people, used to be in favor of Bernie Sanders, but kind of went full populist, full, like, just what's the word I'm looking for? Basically just posturing for her incel followers, right? Her alt-right incel followers, and making them feel smart because she looks at both sides, right? She's a centrist, right? Like, kind of like Tim Pool. A little bit like Tim Pool or Joe Rogan, just a woman. So, here's Shoe0nHead. America is in shambles.
My fellow Americans, I regret to inform you that it is that time again. Election time. Every 4 years we have to deal with this. Are you voting for the red files or the blue files? The red drone strikes or the—
Okay, right off the bat, the red is way worse. I cannot, like, I'm sorry, I know this seems nitpicky, but she's already posturing at the centrist thing.
Drone strikes. Dead Palestinians or dead Palestinians? We're tired of it. They should just pick one
Okay, well, the dead Palestinians thing was pretty true. I'll give her that.
guy to protect democracy and have him rule forever. And I believe that guy should be me. I am officially announcing that I have once again decided to run for president. I know my last campaign didn't go very well after they found the tweets.
President Shoe.
Black people say it all the time. I can't say it. Let's take a look at our candidates, shall we? Trump. Old. Orange. Kamala. Woman. What is a filibuster? I don't know. I get all my opinions from Twitter.
See, she's like immediately playing the centrist angle, and there's no comparison between the two. None.
And my husband. Let's talk about Israel.
Besides Palestine, you can kind of compare that.
Build Back Better, Agenda 47. Let me introduce you to the Shoe New Deal. Bring back the red Pizza Hut cups. Universal guns. Make—
Didn't she just say we're going to talk about the Israel thing? Let's talk about Israel. Build Back Better. What?
Talk about Israel. Build Back Better, Agenda 47. Let me introduce you to the Shoe New Deal. Bring back—
Is this not her talking? This isn't her talking about Israel. I thought it was. Okay, never mind.
the red Pizza Hut cups. Universal guns.
This is like the jokes that you would make in high school about running for student council. This isn't funny.
Make McDonald's colorful again. No more of this millennial gray shit, folks. We're sick of it. Government—
Okay, agreed on that. McDonald's looks like shit these days.
sponsored big titty goth girlfriends. Make it illegal.
Oh,
to
so
be
funny.
mean to me. Imprison people who sleep in jeans. And finally, deport all the Greeks. Who's gonna be my VP? Alex Jones. So vote for me. Or else.
So far, it's just been jokes. We'll see where she goes.
The
with
DNC is being held in Chicago. There's a Kennedy in politics and an assassination attempt. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to—
Wait, there was an assassination attempt? Huh. Don't remember that.
1968. It has been a crazy few weeks. I'm sorry that I have been gone. I've been very busy, as some of you know now, and as some of you guessed. I have recently had a baby. And as it turns out, that takes up a lot of your time.
I know it was Trump, I was joking.
Weird, like, I don't really care about politics anymore, but at the same time, I care about them more than ever. Like, I feel like I care more about the future, but also
Dude,
I don't care—
you're literally playing the centrist card on whether or not you're even political. Shut the fuck
about
up.
what this political streamer said about this political streamer. It is so freeing. I highly recommend it. And even though I told myself I am taking a break from politics, I am
I know she's got a husband, but I didn't know she had a baby.
Retired until further notice.
Well,
I
hope
just
she's doing
couldn't
all right.
help myself. Too much has happened. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. The news has been absolutely insane. I cannot keep up with it. The media has been more biased and extreme than usual, but thankfully there
on both sides, of course, right?
is a tool to help you navigate through all of that. So before we get into today's video, let's quickly get into today's sponsor, a sponsor I've been working with for over 3 years now, Ground News. Ground News is a website and an app.
She looks like she's barely 18. That's a pretty subjective assessment. I think she looks old enough.
On a mission to give readers a fun, transparent way to keep up with the news.
Did I say objective?
And it
I
lets you
meant
compare
subjective.
how stories
Subjective.
are covered all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center.
Okay, I don't care
Headline
about
this spot
this.
about how this left-wing secret mania. Zero outlets. Local bias can cover it. Right-wing source frames the exact same story. Are you ready? Implicit
Wait, hold on,
story.
what?
This is how the left wing covered it. Netanyahu's speech to Congress underscores U.S. complicity in Gaza war. And this is how a right-wing source frames the exact same story. Are you ready? Aloha Akbar. Protesters burn American flag, rage outside Netanyahu's speech. I have been using Ground News every day since 2020.
I'm pretty sure that Ground News is the same one that Sam Cedar promotes, so I think I'm fine with that.
It is one of my all-time favorite apps. My fellow Americans.
What did I do? I started it over. F I pressed the 0 button. Sorry, right next to the arrow key.
As you know, I do not watch mainstream media. It's all biased and fake and bought by big pharma and the military-industrial complex, blah, 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 you know me. So instead, I tune into the real news.
Will Donald Trump win the next presidential election?
Let's go. Same.
No, thank you. Will Joe Biden be the president for the next 4 years? No.
True and real.
Interesting, thank you. Is the ocean considered another dimension? Yes, thank you.
Trump and Biden had a debate, and well, it went exactly how we all expected.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more.
No, I'm sorry. I disagree that that's how it was expected to go. Joe Biden is not that much older than Donald Trump, and he showed that he had some of his brain cells left when he did the State of the Union address earlier in the year. It's just that, like, it seems to be an on and off thing with him. He was in old man mode that night.
Asylum officers.
He had us fooled.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said.
Gotta let Trump
you know,
get the
I have my
zinger.
opinions, but let's see what the American people thought. I forgot to watch. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered.
See how she's kind of pandering this toward Trump? Like, I know Joe's the one that dropped out, but, like, this feels like she's pandering a little bit to the right on this.
Every question. You knew all the.
You answered every question? The bar is in hell. At first,
Yeah, mentioned that Trump didn't answer, like, any of them. That's why she said that. I know that, okay, I agree completely that optically that looked like shit. It looked like a kid being congratulated for, like, a spelling bee competition, okay? But she was correct that, like, Joe Biden answered all the questions and Donald Trump did not.
Democrats tried to play it off like Biden had a cold. They can only keep Biden in the basement for so long, and now the whole world sees his brain melting live on TV.
I will give her the benefit of the doubt here because that was, like, Biden's condition was, like, the biggest news in the whole world for a long time. So, you know, if she hasn't talked about it yet, I'll let her spit a little bit.
With the
I'm trying to be charitable.
Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if.
Yeah, Biden sounded like garbage.
They couldn't
So
deny it
whatever.
anymore, and people have been talking about it for years. I have been talking about it for years. We all saw it, and it's only gotten worse. And it's like,
Yeah, but funny enough, none of your asses covered the State of the Union address. You did not cover the State of the Union address. That's why we thought that he was still capable of winning.
up to think about because it just kind of shows like
This is
of course
hindsight
we all
bias.
knew this, but they really don't give a fuck about us. If this is truly the most important election of our lifetime, and if democracy is at stake, why were you putting up this rotting corpse of a man? The Democrats had 4 years to find someone.
Because of his state of... Listen, it wasn't... Listen, I agree that Biden should not have run. He was clearly getting very old. But it wasn't until that debate night that everybody universally was like, okay, he is completely incapable of doing this. Okay? Like, it was not great before, but then that was terrible. That's when the flip switched. The switch flipped. Whatever you want to call it.
Someone else. 4 years! There are a ton of other options, like, I would vote for Gavin Newsom. I don't know any of his policies, but he looks like a serial killer, and that's enough. This is why we need to repeal the 19th.
At least she's honest.
I'm just kidding. Am I? Everything I say is a joke, unless you agree with it, then I'm serious. There's just no way Trump is losing. It would
I mean, again, just pandering to her incel audience.
take a miracle. It would take something like, I don't know, Trump getting shot in the head at a rally in Pennsylvania.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What the hell? Is this AI generated? Hold on. This isn't real.
Oh yeah, he's winning. I shit you not, I found out about this because of a meme.
It's funny, in all seriousness, everybody did, even I thought that. I still have my Doomer video up, where I like woke up the next morning and recorded. I'm like, this is bad, guys. Oh, this is so bad. And it didn't end up mattering at all. And I have never been happier to be proven wrong in my entire life.
Meme on Twitter. The world
What a breath
could be
of fresh
ending, and
air.
I
What a
wouldn't know
relief.
unless I saw a meme on Twitter. The bullet just grazed his ear because he turned at the last second to look at some immigration chart. Being racist literally saved his life. There's a lesson in that. The shooter was identified as Thomas Crooks, a 20-year-old who managed to find an unoccupied
Mention that he's a conservative. Because that's literally what his record shows.
unguarded roof
Registered
not too far
Republican.
from the rally. He somehow knew that roof would be unguarded, laid down and aimed a rifle at the former president without being noticed. Oh wait, he was noticed. By everyone except the people who should have noticed.
Yeah, someone's on top of
That
the
is
roof.
true.
There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Trump's security detail did like mess up really bad. The Secret Service really messed up bad here. I do agree with that. Mention he's a Republican.
Either this was insane incompetence, or they let it happen. I'm leaning more towards the former because if you look at our bridges and airplanes, America is in shambles. People were laughing
Okay, well that's fair at least.
about how some of the cops protecting Trump were women and like, come on now, that's sexist. They were making these awful memes like this.
Okay, but that felt tongue in cheek. Hold on, is she be okay? I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say she's being serious there.
Were women and like, come on now, that's sexist. They were making these awful memes like this.
It's just not like it's not. It's just sexist. The joke is sexism. It's not funny. It's like it's not funny.
No, but like actually though, why did they have a 5'3" woman protecting a 6'3" man? The shooter
Because she was qualified, clearly. What? She can tackle him. The whole point of the job, like, you're supposed to tackle him, and he's supposed to duck and cover anyway, which he didn't. Why don't you talk about how Trump didn't duck and cover behind his detail, like he's supposed to?
could have had another clear shot of his head. Like, look at that. Look at that. What is that? Like, what happened? Did the Secret Service initiate some
Sorry, you can't be in the Secret Service, Sweaty. You're not tall enough.
DEI program? That would be like something out of a right-wing boomer meme.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have
What did she say at the end?
Like, what happened? Did the Secret Service initiate some DEI
See, I told you, she's just like using all the dog whistles.
program? That would be like something out of a right-wing boomer meme.
Or out of a Shoe0nHead video, apparently.
expand hiring. They're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030.
Oh no. Breaking. FBI
My
confirms
God.
that Trump's ear was
See, it's spineless because it feels tongue-in-cheek, but she is absolutely pandering to her right-wing audience. Not once has she pandered to the leftists yet. Like anybody, like the closest she got is that she would vote for Gavin Newsom, and the joke was that she doesn't know anything about him except that he looks like a serial killer. Oh yeah, great. Yeah, cool.
struck by a bullet.
Very
wow, thanks,
neutral.
guys. How much do we pay you in taxes again? Also, now that the FBI said it, I'm kind of doubting it. This is like when the government confirmed there were aliens, and then I stopped believing that there were aliens. The way we were so
And she said it's not a conspiracy, but now she's conspiracy posting.
close to just seeing Trump's head be blown into smithereens, the worst way to be blown, it is so crazy. Like, what was the motivation behind this?
Okay,
I mean, the
decent joke.
shooter would have to be some crazy leftist, or maybe a crazy far-right person who didn't
Here we
like
go.
Trump,
Wait.
right?
Registered
Well,
Republican.
We don't know, because apparently
Registered Republican. We knew that from like the day after. The day after he came out, registered Republican. Mention that. What do you mean we don't know? That's so stupid.
this 20-year-old had no social media presence. Okay.
He was
we
a
do know
registered
that
Republican.
He donated to the Democrats and was a registered
Oh,
Republican. The
thank
internet
you.
was really desperate to find any kind of motive, but the only thing the media seemed
But he was a registered Republican, and also I believe it came out that he didn't actually donate to the Democrats. So, most recently, he was a Republican.
to report on was the fact that the last thing he did was watch porn. getting in one more goon sesh before getting shot in the head by the feds. Personally, I think it's important to know what kind of porn he was looking at. I think that will set the record straight. Was it furry porn? Leftist. Hentai? Right-wing. Feet? Centrist. Latex balloon inflation BDSM sissy hypno? Shoe0nHead fan. I always thought about
That last one was absolutely right wing.
like if
But
the
then
MK
I repeat
Ultra
myself.
suddenly kicked in and I went on like a killing spree. Good luck figuring out my politics. Trump shooter used gaming site that features presidential assassination game. So for those of you who don't
He actually did donate to the Democrats? Okay, that's interesting. Maybe that was an accident. Most recently, he was a Republican, though. He was also described by, like, people that knew him as a conservative in school. Like, he joined the... He got rejected from the gun club or something. What about furry hentai foot porn? Good question. I don't know.
don't know. They're talking about Steam. He doesn't even own the game. He didn't even play the game. This would be
Which game?
Trump shooter used gaming site that features presidential assassination game. So for those of you who don't know,
Okay, well,
they're
that's
talking about
stupid.
Steam. He doesn't even own the game. He didn't even play the game. This would be like being called a pedo because you have Netflix and Cuties is on Netflix, even though you never watched Cuties. He's not trans. He's not Muslim. We can't figure out his political identity. Who do we blame?
It's most likely that he's Republican, and I feel like it's irresponsible to not say that.
Gamers. Now, I'm not a believer in stochastic terrorism. I think that's a little goofy. People should be allowed to criticize people.
What?
But if you're like,
What do you mean you're not a believer in stochastic terrorism? We have demonstrable evidence that it happens. What? Wait, does she mean that she doesn't believe that it happens, or does she mean that she doesn't believe in doing it? Like, we have literally, libs of TikTok sent people after a hospital and they called in bomb threats. She doesn't want it. Okay, I'm gonna go with the charitable interpretation and say she doesn't want it. But she says right after,
terrorism, I think that's a little goofy. People should be allowed to criticize people. But
people should be allowed to criticize people. That would feed into the uncharitable interpretation of she doesn't even think it happens. Because if you think that it happens, we're gonna leave that one on the table for the audience to decide. Because I'm trying to be as charitable as possible here.
if you're like, he's Hitler, he's Hitler, he's Hitler, he's Hitler, eventually someone is gonna try to kill Hitler. But
Here
it
we
is
go.
crazy to think about how, like,
Yeah, so the guy did not ever, like, he was a registered Republican at the time of the shooting. That is important to recognize.
this will be in the history books.
And also, like, the conservatives have been amping up they've been ramping up the violent rhetoric for years now. Okay? You don't see that from the liberals.
This will be in my son's history book, but it will look more like this. Now, unfortunately, someone did die. One of the bullets hit Corey Comparator as he was protecting his family.
True, his own VP Nom called him Hitler. That's pretty true. Good point.
But there were people like mocking
was that?
Corey Comparator as he was protecting his family. But there were people like mocking this, which is insane to me. Like it's
Corey Comparator was a horrible person. I can't speak to how well he raised his children, but you know, dying for your child does not mean that you love them or take good care of them. Like, that doesn't mean that he's a good parent. That just means that he kept a kid from dying. That's pretty, like, you know, I'm sorry, but that's like a low bar, like saving your own child from dying. Yeah, he was a horrible person.
It's one thing to make fun of a failed assassination attempt, even a successful assassination attempt on a politician. If we can't mock or criticize the people in power, there is an issue. But it's another thing to mock a innocent Trump supporter that died. The guy didn't
The Trump supporter that died was a lunatic. He was most likely a fascist, and I mean, he was at a Trump rally, man. What do you expect? Like, he probably wanted trans people to die. Like, no, I don't have to play into this bullshit. Like, he was a bad person, and I probably would not have liked him.
didn't have any power. He wasn't a politician. He was just a dude. I don't like where stuff like this leads. And sure, you could
Yeah,
say,
Twitter
oh,
was
the
full of
Biden
hate.
supporter died.
Won't bring up his Twitter, of course.
You know, MAGA would be laughing about it too. And like, sure, like, can you just have some principles? Oh, speaking of, libs of
My principle is that if I think you're a horrible person in life, I'm going to continue to say that you're a horrible person in death. By the way, is Rush Limbaugh is he still dead? I'm pretty sure he's still dead.
TikTok started doxing people for making jokes about the assassination on like Facebook and getting people fired from their jobs, including some old lady who like worked at Home Depot. Like her
Something that the conservatives would famously never do. Yeah, okay. She's going into this. Okay, never mind. She's hitting this.
And getting people fired from their jobs, including some old lady who like worked at Home Depot. Like her life is miserable enough, man. She's like
Sorry, I misheard.
65 working at Home Depot. Libs of TikTok just completely forgetting the reason she started the account in the first place, to make fun of cringy liberal behavior like getting people fired for jokes and political opinions online. I have been incredibly consistent over the years. Consistently retarded. But one of the things I've been very consistent on, I can
get on board with railing against libs of TikTok. I think that's a great thing to do.
My principles is
I can
being
recognize
against
when
getting
people I don't like do good things.
for like things they said online. If you don't have principles, you are no better than your.
Although that she was being way too nice to libs of TikTok because she started, like, the reason libs of TikTok did that was for hate reasons. I'm starting to believe she doesn't actually believe that stochastic terrorism is a thing, because that's exactly what libs of TikTok did all the time, stochastic terrorism.
Your enemy, and it just becomes this extremely toxic back and forth, this toxic cycle. And you all look like psychopaths while I'm here on the sidelines, principled and losing.
I think it's fine to get fired because you're making other people in your workplace uncomfortable. Like if you're being racist or being sexist, or, you know, your political opinion or your religious opinion would have you like do things that are uncouth toward other people, like evangelize them. Like, I think it's fine to fire people for that. It's not fine to fire people for like making a joke about it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if you joke about it. Like, I don't care. Like, you shouldn't be fired for that.
Forever. Like, social media, when this all was going down, was a train wreck. Oh, speaking of
speaking of, sorry, Jinx. Speaking of assassination attempts, yeah, the red dot behind me, yeah.
Train wrecks. The RNC happened.
It was dog shit. Also, this is horrible
quality.
Let me
hear you cheer if you support Israel.
Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
That was the best part of the whole thing, is Hulk Hogan.
Become totally unhinged.
I hated this guy.
If Donald Trump is not elected in November.
At the RNC, Trump finally announced his VP pick, J.D. Vance, a man who, according to Snopes, did not in fact fuck a couch. Well, he lost my vote. JD is a senator from Ohio, the author of Hillbilly Elegy, and a terminally online post-liberal who follows me on Twitter.
It is the weirdest thing to
Holy
me.
shit.
Democrats say
She's
that
kind
it
of calling him
is
out.
racist to believe. Well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday, and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but
okay.
It's good.
Showing the weirdness. I like it.
That's my oomphy. This dude follows like 1,000 people, and 2 of them are me and my husband. There is a chance that we have a vice president who has retweeted the words Hitler Bussy 420. Oh, they did it. They literally did write about Mountain Dew being racist. I hate it here. After posting on Twitter that he was dropping out, we didn't hear from Biden for a few days, and people started suspecting that he was dead.
I do think that all made J.D. Vance look very bad in general.
People genuinely thought the DNC took him out behind the shed and put him down like an old dog. The shooter missed. Quick. Plan B. Kill Biden. Phones don't even
I've heard her husband is awful.
Phones don't even look like this anymore. This man's brain was so fried he had to drop out of the race, but he's still the president?
We're right back to Biden hating, by the way.
We have a president who is too senile to run for president. So who is going to run?
No, the point is that he can complete his duties as president while not running. He's too, old to do both.
Run for president. Who is coming to save us?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Coconuts in
Just as
chat.
I predicted 5 years ago, America might get its first female president because the president stepped down or died. Empowering! I don't know if you guys remember, but Kamala was not
Nobody was ever saying that. That's crazy.
popular at all during the 2019 Democratic primaries. She dropped out before Iowa. She was less popular than Tulsi Gabbard, and people don't like to hear it.
Not now. Not
but
anymore.
She was literally chosen because of her gender.
Sorry,
it's not
everybody's
even a
in the
joke.
coconut
During
trees
the debate,
now.
When it was Bernie versus Biden, they were asked who they're gonna pick as a VP, and Bernie was like, well, it depends if they're progressive and if they're following a progressive agenda, and Biden was like, I vow to get a female VP, and the crowd went nuts. We might have President Kamala Harris because Biden tried to outwoke Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders at West Lebanon Harris is not going to win this election, and she is going to have a very difficult time winning unless she begins to speak forcefully about the needs of the long-neglected working class of this country.
This is from July 26, 2024. Oh, Sanders said that? Oh, yeah, Bernie Sanders had kind of an L take on that, yeah. Bernie Sanders and AOC, I'm disappointed in them.
The quote tweets and the replies were just full of thousands of people calling him sexist for this. Bernie is absolutely correct, though. Kamala has been so focused on getting, like, the TikTok vote.
Okay, when was this uploaded? 7 days ago? No, people were on the Kamala train even 7 days ago, sorry.
With her little, like, brat summer thing. I don't know what the brat is. I'm old, but someone has to remind Kamala Harris that she's running for president of the United States, not president of the gays and women. White Women for Harris meeting raised millions, broke Zoom. But when I want to have a whites only meeting, I'm called a racist. Wow.
As white women, we need to.
But like, the thing is, it was the reason that you're, I know she's joking, but like the reason that you're having the meeting focused around white people is important, because the whole reason they're having that meeting is to elect a black president and like probably talk about like their responsibility as white people in breaking down systemic racism in a sense, you know what I mean? If you're coming at it from a right-wing perspective, you're having an all-right meaning to be exclusive toward black people. And I'm sure if you were a person of color, you could attend that meeting if you wanted to. I'm sure that they were not discriminating and saying, well, you're not white, so you can't come to our all-white meeting. That's very silly. Bernie and AOC were pro-Biden to save their asses. One of the talking points that took down Bowman was he was anti-Biden. I'm sorry. Like, I think you have a duty to your, like, everybody saw what happened on debate night, and you have a duty to your constituents to be honest with them. And they were not honest. They were not honest.
To use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead we can put our listening ears on.
Oh no.
I agree with that for the most part. You shouldn't speak over like people of color, like in general. But like if somebody is a person of color and saying really stupid, deranged shit, then I think it's fine to not on the basis of color. I think the point is you have to make sure that you're not speaking over people of color on the basis of the color of their skin. It's an important distinction. But I wouldn't like give Candace Owens the light of day, or the time of day. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Kamala Harris pull off a victory in 3 months? 3 top strategists lay out how. How do you run a 3-month campaign in an era when presidential campaigns have become years-long affairs? We gathered 3 top campaign managers to ask just that. We spoke with Patty Solis Doyle, who ran Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential primary campaign, Robbie Mook, who ran Clinton's 2016 general election campaign.
Hi, Hillary Clinton team? Yeah, I need advice on how to win.
What? Do you think Hillary's, like, seething? If there's any reason to vote for Kamala, it's just to make Hillary extremely mad. It was supposed to be me! The Democrats are voting for a cop and the
I think that's a fair reason to vote for Kamala.
voting for a cop and the Republicans are voting for a felon. And one of the candidates' VP is a Shoe0nHead fan. Wild timeline we're on, folks. It's silly season. I don't know who's gonna win. All I know is that this is a race between 2 very different candidates.
It's gonna be Kamala.
Do not come. Do not come.
Classic.
Anyway, that was my little political video. I just wanted to cover everything that happened so we can like look back on this during World War III and see how easy we had it. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win? Not who do you want to win, who do you think is going to win? Big thank you to everyone who donates to me on Patreon.
I think, okay, so let's check the comments real quick. I just want to see her. Here's her audience, okay? And then I'll give my thoughts. Having a baby and retiring, Shoe has become a trad wife. The only reason America is in shambles is because Shoe hasn't uploaded a Hell World in 2 years. Kamala, don't come Trump, I'm gonna come America. If I ever get pregnant, you guys are just gonna have to assume I'm eating good. If there's any reason to vote for Kamala, it's just to make Hillary extremely mad is probably the best campaign slogan yet. I think that was a pretty good zinger. I agree. The crazy part is not that any of this has happened, but the fact that the channels like this are violently controversial and not considered lukewarm takes and common sense. I mean, it was lukewarm, but it was like kind of lukewarm toward the right. There's a chance JD Vance is watching this right now. Yeah. Honestly, I think that like that would have made her audience look like JD Vance look cool to her audience. if you're reading it uncharitably, you could say that like she did that to make JD Vance look cooler to her audience, but she did kind of goof on him a little bit. So who's to say? Everything is a joke unless you agree with it, then I'm serious. Well, that's literally like, this right here is her mantra. Like, that is true. Okay, they all just seem like memers. I don't know. I think that Shoe is just kind of a memer. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think that she doesn't think that she can, like, you know, do anything wrong. And she's just kind of feeding the algorithm of her incel audience. You know what I mean? So, like, this was it wasn't, like, extremely right-leaning the entire time, but it was enough. Like, it was, if you go centrist between the current liberal and the current conservative, then you are being right-leaning by default, because there's just no comparison between the two right now. So I don't think it was her worst video. I don't think that, like, she's going to be, you know, I don't think she's purposefully dragging people over to vote for Trump or anything, but I do think that she's kind of, like I said, just appealing to the right-wing incels, basically. That's all she's doing. And it's worth mentioning also that her husband is like a mega conservative, right? So yeah, I don't know. Not the worst person on the internet, but certainly not the best. Centrist take on Shoe0nHead. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.